Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakoni and I am Rukidi Kiijanangoma. Now, hundreds of subjects to His Royal Highness Dr. Solomon Gafabusa Iguru, the King of Bunyoro Kingdom, have gathered at Karuzika Palace in Hoima City to celebrate the 30th coronation anniversary. Now, the event was attended by the Prime Minister Robin Nabanja and other government dignitaries, as we hear in this story.
Every 11th June, Bunyoro Kingdom commemorates the coronation anniversary of the king of this mighty dynasty, His Royal Highness Dr. Solomon Gafabusa Iguru I. This year's celebrations has attracted who at an event hosted at Karuzika Palace in Hoima City.
The Kingdom of Buganda and the Bunyoro Kingdom have a common history and are similar challenges. We therefore need a common approach to propagate our heritages and to overcome the challenges.
I have observed with admiration his focus on promoting culture, education, healthcare, modern agriculture, and raising awareness about HIV/AIDS within the community. This initiative aligns closely with the government efforts to ensure a thriving and healthy population. Signed by General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, Chief of Defense Forces and Senior Presidential Advisor for Special Operations.
Ministers of State Dr. Balamba Rugahara, Fred Byamukama, among others, have attended this event, with the IGP of Uganda, Abbas Byakagaba, not skipping the event.
Nkomunyoro nkusaba Bunyoro Kitara BKK hamu n'ababito inywena n'obukama abantu babulisa twikale ntubasembeza abagungu abaruru bona manga ga Bunyoro uragenda Kiryandonga ali amanga nka 50 tukolere hamu tole tukutwara Uganda maiso kandi Bunyoro tugirindire hamu.
In almost every speech, ranging from those delivered by the kingdom, the royal family and other speakers, it has been evident that the king himself has supported development within this territory.
Tukole na amani, tuleke genda kusabiriza, tuleke genda kweswaza, kukungana na abantu, ngogwa twaire kataito, iwa kabakuraganize akakoto.
The Prime Minister of Uganda, Right Honorable Robin Nabanja Musafiri, was the chief guest.
I want to commend all those that have participated in the commemoration activities like the Mpango Run, the Native Food Festival, etc.
Robin Nabanja represented His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
The traditional leaders and institutions have helped to preserve our languages and cultures, which are threatened by foreign influencers. Our rich and unique languages should be preserved by all the cultural institutions. We restored the cultural institutions to look after the traditional sites, such as the palaces, the burial sites, and others.
With all these smiles and excitement from the subjects of the king, there is one critical question.
I think we just have to be very sincere with ourselves. Yesterday, the Omukama Gafabusa Iguru was at St. Peter's Church in a church service where he was able to be there for 2 hours. That alone was able to show the Bunyoro and the country that Omukama is still there. We can only pray for the Lord to deliver him from whatever is disturbing him.
King Solomon Gafabusa Iguru I is the 49th king of this Bunyoro Kingdom and the 27th in the ruling lineage of the dynasty. He has been out of the public domain since 2019, although yesterday, Monday, 10th, 2024 of this month, June, he attended the service of the commemoration, which was hosted at St. Peter's Cathedral here in Hoima City. I'm Robert Onyango for UBC News here in Hoima City.
Thank you so much, Robert Onyango, for that story there. Now, police is holding 3 legislators over allegations of corruption. Now, these include Luengo Woman Member of Parliament, Bunyoro West and Busiki County legislators. The arrest and transportation resembled scenes from a movie, heavily guarded, suggesting a high-profile case. Ivan Kahwa reports.
Uganda Police Kira Divisional Headquarters had heightened security presence as legislators summoned to answer queries on allegations of corruption were being brought to the facility. Sise Namuju, the Luengo Woman Member of Parliament, Yusuf Mutembuli, Bunyoro West MP, and Paul Akamba, Busiki County MP, spent a night in police custody at Kira Police Division. They were taken back to the CID for questioning before returning them to Kira Police Division, but escorted in a convoy of white black-tinted glass police drones with escorts. We couldn't obtain a comment from the police. Meanwhile, some members of parliament were within the police premises.
We are here, we saw them, they are in good state. And not only them as honorables, but all the eminents are in good state. Yes, we talked to them. So we don't know what the officers have come to do, but the good thing, there are even senior officers who have come.
The police, upon offloading the accused into the facility, blocked the entrance using vehicles, deliberately obstructing journalists from filming and taking pictures. The situation remained the same until the MPs, confirmed to be 3 in number, were driven away, each in their drone to different locations. These developments come at a time when the president indicated having received intelligence reports on corruption emanating from the Ministry of Finance and the Parliament of Uganda, the same information the Inspector General of Government has always made public.
Tax are built in the budget. It goes to the implementing agencies. All of them were part of the grand negotiations. And by the time it comes to execution to the contractor, half of the money goes back up the chain.
I didn't believe this, but now I have proof.
The Inspectorate of Government, on the other hand, assures the law is indiscriminate when dealing with acts of corruption.
The mistake makers, we can cancel them and show them how to do things. Because if we were to punish all the mistake makers, we would have nobody to work with.
So the law actually penalizes that person to the extent of that negligence or that mistake. So in the law, ignorance of the law is no defense.
Dishonest, foreign agent, mistake maker. Those are 3 people who need to be handled differently.
So everybody who takes up a public office should be responsible enough, should pay attention to detail, because a leader is a moral person who basically self-identifies as that moral person.
By press time, police were yet to give a comment on the developments. However, we can confirm from the DPP's office that no file on the 3 has been received yet.
Ivan Kahwa reporting there. In a related development, members of parliament support the action of police arresting some of their colleagues for suspected engagement in criminal activity. They say it is proper for police to investigate the allegations. Take a watch.
The media is publishing and airing news on summoning and arrest of 3 legislators following President Museveni's statements on corruption in Parliament during the State of the Nation address last Thursday, June 6th. Police say it has not summoned any MPs and denied having them in custody. Members of Parliament have mixed reactions.
You see, the police also has a duty to handle matters confidential. Maybe witnesses or other co-accused may even escape in the process. They also want to protect the privacy of the individuals involved because they are just suspects. It's just an investigation. I'm not really blaming them for that.
Yes, they would have come out publicly to say that, you know, this and this and this is going on. Then the rest of the members of Parliament involved in that, they will never do that again. But they are busy hiding here and there.
That he has started arresting some members. We are yet to see how many are going to be apprehended. And we hope that the laws that after the corrupt people will not act selectively. Every member who's accused should be taken before courts of law.
Some members of Parliament say this is good to single out those ones because not all of them engage in such criminal activity. Others, however, say the investigation may not yield positive results.
Not clear to me. I don't know the nature of the charges, so I cannot comprehensively talk about the charges. But whether you're a member of Parliament, apart from the President, no one is above the law. For all of us, that when we take off positions of responsibility, we must do or perform our duties in accordance with the law so that we don't infringe established principles of law.
So I want to see the process moving on to its logical conclusion, because as it is now, those are allegations. They will be taken to courts, tried, and of course, at the end of the day, a judgment will be made. So as of now, they are innocent until proven guilty. But this is a wake-up call that corruption cannot be tolerated, especially in an institution like Parliament.
That there is corruption in the Parliament. And actually, whenever they have been mentioned, it's been in my stance that if there is corruption, the people who are involved, they should be charged, they should be talked to. The matter should be brought out clear instead of painting the whole Parliament that we are corrupt. So I'm hoping that now these have been pointed out, that the law will take its course.
Because a case cannot get rotten, it will still be charged against them. We would even parade here at the parliamentary compound. Then the CIDs come and scoop out whoever they want that has committed an offense. Whoever took hot soup must bear the gravity of swallowing it, because not all of us that we are corrupt. It is a few members that are corrupt, and we shouldn't suffer the victim of the effect for their own.
So does Parliament have rules to handle such individuals?
Parliament has its rules of procedure, and in most cases, if there is a problem, you are referred to the Rules and Disciplinary Committee. And then the Rules and Disciplinary Committee investigates the matter. That is if it's initiated by Parliament itself. But if it is something to do with the corruption, embezzlement of public funds or something like that, then that's a criminal matter. You see, the two are parallel to each other. There is the criminal and there is the civil. I think ours is a little bit civil. If it's a criminal matter, then it's handled by the police.
Meanwhile, as Sechkubo was collecting signatures, the Speaker of Parliament picked and took him in a private meeting. He says it was about allegations of involving her in the censure motion.
I also took opportunity to explain this side of the story, because a lot of people who are giving false information and the self-seekers wanted to sour the relationship between the Speaker and the movers of this motion. But fortunately, we have agreed that this process must continue.
By end of day, they had collected 150 signatures, and the process continues to get 176, the target to proceed with the motion. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Ngwetabinji at Parliament.
Now to matters pertaining to the budget and the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, also Secretary to the Treasury, Ramadan Gobi, has assured Ugandans that the country's national debt will remain stable. Gobi's reassurance follows public concern over Uganda's public debt, which will take the lion's share of 34 trillion shillings in the 72 trillion shillings budget for the next financial year.
For the presentation of the national budget. It is just 2 days before the presentation of the national budget speech for financial year 2024-2025. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, Ramadan Gobi, assures the public that the budget is people-friendly.
I've had a lot of debate on debt, national debt. I want to assure you the national debt of Uganda is sustainable, is going to remain so. When you see these numbers in the budget, sometimes they are not well explained by economists to non-economists.
Of the 72 trillion shillings budget, 34 trillion shillings will be allocated for debt servicing. Gobi is confident that the government will be able to service this debt, adding that there is no cause for concern.
The law of Uganda required us to put memo values in the budget. Otherwise, the budget would have looked different from what you are seeing now. When you hear 72 trillion, please, this is not money, all money we are going to spend, borrow and spend. No. Actually, the money we are going to be spending in that budget is less than 40 trillion. 40 trillion. The rest are memo numbers.
The budget for the next financial year was initially drafted at 58 trillion shillings, but was later revised to 72 trillion shillings. This sudden increase has caused uproar from some members of the public, particularly politicians, who questioned the change in figures in the national budget.
Now you had a corrigenda of 13.8 trillion. I saw people losing sleep. Oh, we are finished. The budget has overgrown and there is no growth. 7.8 trillion, we are issuing paper to Bank of Uganda to cover all the debt we have been having with the Bank of Uganda in the history of Uganda. We have paid them. And you know they love big headlines. Government is to borrow more, 13 trillion. No, that's not true. We are not going to go to the market to borrow that money. That money is going to remain there for you, private sector. We are going to borrow next year less than 12 trillion to support the 32 trillion which we are getting from revenue to run the economy.
Gobi has warned the general public against negative talk during this budgeting period, noting that it would scare away potential investors.
So nobody should really mislead you to start bringing anxiety. And you know, Ugandans, we don't love ourselves. We don't know that when we send these signals to the market, the global market especially,
yes,
we increase the interest rates for you, the business,
yes, exactly,
and for government.
Yeah, and discourage investors.
You discourage investors, and then eventually you say, the economy is now killing us even more. You started it by the talk.
Work through the process.
In the next financial year, the government plans to borrow 28.7 trillion shillings from local commercial banks to fund the 72 trillion shillings national budget. This is higher than the initially planned borrowing of 15.4 trillion shillings from local banks. Diano Olwen-Peters, UBC News.
Now, the Assistant Commissioner for Labour Inspections at the Ministry of Gender, Amuriat Bernard, says poverty has driven children aged 5 to 16 years into labour, depriving them education and future opportunities. The United Nations Children's Fund statistics show incidences of child labour increased from 21 to 36% during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. We have more in this story.
Every June 12th, the world observes the International Day Against Child Labour to raise awareness on all forms of child abuse. This day has been observed since 2002. The United Nations Children Fund report shows increasing cases of child labor among children aged 5 to 17 years.
Increased, as you all know, during the COVID-19 pandemic, which moved the situation from 21% to 31%. At 21, it used to be about 2,000 children who were engaged. It moved on to about 4,048. According to the Uganda National Household Survey of 2019-2020. To make matters worse, even after the schools were reopened in January 2022, 1 in 10 school-going children did not report back to school.
The Uganda National Child Labour Policy of 2006 defines child labour as work that is mentally, physically, socially and morally dangerous and harmful to children. The Busoga region registers high numbers of child labour.
Busoga, Bukedi had the highest proportion of children aged 5 to 17 years involved in child labour, at 29% and 28% respectively. More children in the rural, which is 31%, than urban, 20%. Were involved in child labor.
Poverty has also forced children into labor, depriving them of childhood, education and future opportunities. This calls for collective efforts to address the vice.
It's a very complex problem. And that's why towards this address, I was like calling upon, we need collective effort. Everybody has a role because, you see, for a child to fail to go to school, it begins from a family. So a family has a responsibility. The community where that child hails from has a responsibility. The leader where the child comes from has a responsibility. The sub-county, all those different levels.
This year's World Day Against Child Labour is on the global theme. Let us act on our commitments against child labour. Justin Nakami, UBC News.
Now let's go back to matters pertaining to the national budget. And in the 1990s, government adopted a cash budget approach to minimize utilization of services that it could not pay for so as to reduce debt burden. Running a cash budget simply means demand for goods and services backed by the ability to pay for them. Mark Wadulu Arnold gives us more.
They will pay. Now, such people don't use cash. You go for medical treatment, the doctors will treat you even before you pay, because they know you will pay. Now, the difference between such kind of running a budget, whether national or personal, is when people begin to wonder whether you'll be able to pay. Then you must turn up with cash.
A principal economist at Makerere University Business School, Dr. Fred Muhumuza, asserts that Uganda ought to drastically reduce borrowing, focus on revenue collection scaling and service delivery in order to sustain a developing economy.
There is a procedure in government they call a commitment control system. Don't commit government if you do not have cash. So even up to today, people, accounting officers will always wait for a warrant. Now, a warrant is not necessarily cash, and that's why the deviation comes in. A warrant is simply saying you can spend up to 20 million this quarter, but you still have to wait for the cash to come in. Now, unfortunately, some people have used the warrant to still commit government, deviating from the cash budget. And that is where the whole talk of arrears.
According to the June 2023 Auditor General's report, Uganda's public debt has risen to unprecedented levels, reaching 96.1 trillion shillings, of which 44 trillion shillings is domestic, while 52.8 trillion is from foreign sources.
The national budgets for financial years 2023-2024, 2024-25 prioritized debt repayment. But what is the opportunity cost for paying this debt?
Yeah, when there is debt, then you find that you're concentrating more to pay debt than to provide for the different sectors. So you find that there will be less funding for the education institutions, there's less funding especially for research, you find there is less funding for the appropriate equipment required in hospitals.
When I see the debt going close to 34 trillion, in a budget of 72 trillion. Then you domestic and foreign, plus what we call refinancing, because you have refinancing, meaning the money has matured, but we don't have it to pay back those lenders. So you do an accounting book to say, leave me with your money, but I'll continue to pay you interest. But now remember, that's not new money, but it's sitting in the 72. So 12 is sitting in the 72, but it's not new money. That brings you down to 60. Interest payment is about 8.5, 8.7. That's not going to come to me and you to offer services. It is to pay back those who lent government. That makes it 20 trillion already out of the budget. There is a 9 trillion to Bank of Uganda. That's not going to come to me and you to fix our roads and improve health care. So you're already on 29. Then you are going to add on 3.5, which is to external debt. You have entered 33, 34 trillion. Money in the budget, but which is not going to speak to the needs of the year. Now that's a true cost of debt.
Despite minimizing activities like trips out of the country, which were considered wasteful, there still manifests inefficient utilization of resources which impact expenditures in the long run. As we enter the financial year 2024-25, government accounting officers have been employed to minimize unnecessary spending and check wastage. Wadulo Mark Arnold, UBC News in Kampala.
Now, the Katikkiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, has advised students and starting lawyers to prioritize service to maintain the dignity of lawyers. He was meeting KIU law students at Bulangi Mengo.
Students offering law at Kampala International University have visited Buganda's Katikkiro at Bulangi Mengo, seeking advice how to become successful in future. During the engagement, Katikkiro Mayiga advised starting lawyers to work with honesty and integrity.
To understand the challenge of your client. People come to lawyers hoping to get solutions. What is the challenge the client is faced with? If you don't understand the challenge the client is faced with, you never provide the right solutions.
Mayiga also appealed to lawyers to understand their clients and take interest in the matters that will help them achieve the target.
But you have to be brutally honest with your client. Because if you go and file a bad case without telling your client, you're going to lose him. If what you're looking at is the money at that point in time, you can't do that thing so many times. People will say that lawyer is simply after money. You have to be brutally and professionally honest.
Christine Ndagire, students' team leader, appreciated Katikkiro's advice and pledged to implement.
The
Buganda Attorney General Christopher Bwanika pledged support to students offering law.
We shall draw lawyers who will support the legal team here, as well as in other spheres of legal life in the country.
Meanwhile, Bunyoro Kingdom has issued a caveat emptor to land at every cultural site that the custodians entrusted have no right to sublease or sell it except the Kabaka. This was disclosed during the press conference at Bulangi Mengo by the Minister for Lands and Properties in Bunyoro Kingdom.
Notice is hereby given to the general public and to all land housing cultural sites, royal tombs, known as Amasiro in Luganda, and known historical or cultural sites in the Kingdom of Buganda belong to the Kabaka of Buganda and are managed by Buganda Land Board on behalf of the Kingdom. The Kingdom of Buganda has received reports of unscrupulous individuals who are purporting to buy and acquire, subdivide, selling and building on land housing cultural sites, royal tombs, and well-known historical sites. We would like the public to be aware that this land is not, I repeat, not for sale, and is not legally capable of sale without the consent of the Kabaka of Buganda.
This caveat has come at a time when much of Buganda's land at cultural sites have been sold and leased by custodians. Brian Tumwinebiaruhanga, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
The Uganda National Oil Company, UNOC, is wholly owned by the government of Uganda and was established to safeguard and promote Uganda's commercial interests in the petroleum sector. UNOC has two subsidiaries, the Uganda Refinery Holding Company, URHC, which will hold a 40% stake in the 60,000 barrel per day refinery and manage the development of Kabalega Industrial Park, and the National Pipeline Company Limited, NPC, in charge of pipelines, storage, and downstream business ventures. This subsidiary holds 15% interest in the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, ECOP. ECOP is a 1,445-kilometer long pipeline that will transport crude oil through 10 districts in Uganda to the port of Tanga in Tanzania. UNOC is also actively engaged in crude oil exploration, development, and production activities, and its participation role includes a 15% stake in the Tilenga, Nwoya, and Bulisa and Kingfisher development projects, Chikure. UNOC also holds the exploration license for Kasuruban Block in Hoima, Bulisa, and Masindi. UNOC currently owns and manages the Ginger Storage Terminal and will build a 320 million litre capacity terminal in MPG called the Kampala Storage Terminal. At UNOC, we're harnessing the potential of Uganda's petroleum resources, forging a sustainable future and preserving the natural beauty of Uganda. UNOC, your partner in Uganda's oil and gas industry.
Sigekira mulimo gwenkola gukanikira baba customer ku basobuni timba no bwiro bukutwala sente isomero ati nti amukolesa enkola ya MTN mobile money ni migasta 10 nkaga na 5 star 8 nintekam kodi namba y'omwana genda sente ni sasola ku luminta ino kuterimaniziwa kono katunge simu kuruga mu MTN bantereire okubanza ntakikirize nkaba amanyire bali bafere hanyuma nagenda nakakuza MTN yawo nagamba ntungire simu ino kuruga mu MTN kyamazima okuba nkabanta amanyire nti aliyo promotion hanyuma madam akola MTN yangambira kyamazima kubasima muno mwebale muno akasente kabaire kenja kusasula school fees tamwe kujja bakasasulire akandi nja kasasulira mbagenzi baye abatabandi mwebale muno.
Together we're unstoppable.
Once upon a time, there lived identical twins who gave birth to beautiful princes and princesses.
Their mothers gave their babies' bodies a lot of care by applying on their skin with baby Junior jelly.
Though dried their chariots and everyone would admire their glowing skin. Fun fact, baby Junior prevents diaper rash, dry and sensitive skin.
Moms all over Africa love baby Junior jelly. Baby Junior's the skin. No more worries anymore. Boo, 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 boo. Baby Junior. Baby Junior.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Now, State House Investors Protection Unit has hosted a meeting with a UK delegation led by Jaffer Kapasi, OBE, the Consul General of Uganda to the Midlands. The meeting highlighted Uganda's growing potential as an investment hub, driven by initiatives from President Yoweri Museveni.
Protection Unit, Colonel Edith Nakalema has highlighted the President's initiatives to attract foreign investments.
The purpose of their coming was to get the reassurance that the State House Investors Protection Unit is here to coordinate collaboratively with all mandated ministries, departments and agencies to ensure that every investment that comes or that is already established in Uganda continues to be protected, and that they will not be delayed by any by any unnecessary delays in government ministries, departments and agencies.
Colonel Nakalema expressed her honor at hosting the delegation, which included distinguished investors successful in sectors like construction and the vanilla industry.
This is a delegation of very able investors that already have a number of businesses that are successful in Uganda in the line of construction, in the line of vanilla industry, and they have come here to reassure us that they are going back to the United Kingdom to invite many more big investors in a number of sectors, because they got the news about Uganda's Electronic Investors Protection Portal, an initiative that was guided by His Excellency the President, which is making many foreign investors to discover the potential, the increasing potential of investing in Uganda.
She commended the President's efforts in fostering a conducive environment for foreign investors and emphasized her unit's role. Representatives from over 40 countries, mainly based in the UK, attended the meeting.
They have come to just assure us that they are going to add on the investments they already have in Uganda, having discovered that there is a provision that is online, Uganda's Electronic Investors Protection Portal, where they don't have to buy tickets to come and inquire about how to expand their businesses, but can do it online.
These investors already established in Uganda expressed their enthusiasm about the new Electronic Investors Protection Portal.
In this particular case, we have got investors in building, housing. We've got investors in agriculture. We also got 2 doctors coming who are interested in manufacture of medicine. They may take actually interest in building a health center on Bokassa Road, because I believe there's no health center in Bokassa Road area. So they're looking into that. They've also asked me to find out if there is land available for agriculture, which they could easily invest in terms of machinery, also invest in people who would actually do agriculture.
The delegation is committed to enhancing their investments and inviting more substantial investors to explore the vast opportunities in Uganda. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Thanks, Kaye, for that story there. Now, stakeholders in the health sector are appealing for private investors to invest in the health sector to bridge the gap on shortage of skilled labor and access to healthcare, among other issues. Health statistics show that Uganda is short of about 50% of the required health workers in the public service, and yet the private facilities are still lacking.
Uganda continues to suffer the shortage of health workers, with the ratio standing at approximately 12,500 patients per doctor, while nurse per patient is 1 to 11,000. In rural areas, the vice encompassed with poor transport and lack of specialists in various units has left the available few health workers stressed and overburdened to deliver. The Executive Director, Lubega Institute of Nursing and Health Professionals, Dr. Muhammad Lubega, says there is need for more investment in the health sector by the private sector.
The population of 24% of the world encumbers the greatest prevalence of diseases in this world. And yet only 3% of the necessary workers are available to help treat these illnesses. But we can contribute to the health workforce that can go down the streets of us and treat people in the villages. Gives us humor and pride.
Current reports indicate underfunding, understaffing, lack of accommodation and inconsistent drug distribution as some of the key challenges facing the Uganda's health system. The Chabazinga of Busoga, His Royal Highness Gabula Nadiope, however, is grateful to government and other stakeholders including Ministry of Education and Sports, Health Ministry and Uganda Allied Health Professionals Council for providing health training guidelines in the country.
Stakeholders, only Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Sports, Uganda Nurses and Midwives Council, the Uganda Allied Health Professionals Council, the Uganda Allied Health Examinations Board, Uganda Business and Technical Examinations Board, Director of Industrial Training, NAMA, for providing the technical direction, guidance and support that has allowed
Chabazinga was at Luwega Institute of Nursing and Health Professionals in Iganga District, where he commissioned Gabula Pentagon Institute 100-seater Scania bus at the 4th congregation, and over 530 students were awarded certificates and diplomas in various health disciplines, including pharmacy, nursing, midwifery, among others.
Uganda Muslim Supreme Council plans to develop Namugongo Muslim site and awaits government compensation to evict the current settlers. This was stated by the Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, during commemoration of Muslim matters at the UMSC headquarters.
Various religious leaders and sheikhs from across Uganda gathered to commemorate Muslim matters.
Mube bakola tewali gwogamba nti muki bona baali batuufu bano abaafirya eddiini yaabwe baatuusa mu nkola kye baali bamanyi. Kabaka yakozesa obuyinza bwe nti alina kubonereza abajeemu abamuwakanya n'abasomesa baali basuubuzi tojja kuba reprimandinga kuba baali basuubuzi bo ekyo kye baali bamanyi.
The Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, said the development of Namgong Muslim Matters site will serve as a tourist attraction, and he emphasized that the site will also be used for training of new Muslims and those seeking further knowledge.
Ekyo kizibu kinene so kakatuleke tuleme kugendayo kubanga waliwo ba bloggers abanoonya content bagita content abanoonya content bano bakuba ekide n'abasiraamu nabo nga baziina mwagala basabirewa era lwali tetwekayo oba training college oba markazi etendeka baduaati nga bwe kiri mu pulaani yaffe nti baduaati babeere nga basinziira mu bumalirivu bw'abashuhada abaffe.
Additionally, Haji Abbas Mulumbia, Secretary General of Uganda Muslim Supreme Council headquarters, urged Muslims to keep track of their history.
I want to assure the Muslims of Uganda, regardless of the challenges out there, Muslim Matters Day, starting today, is going to grow stronger, inshallah. We want these issues to be understood by everybody so that we can argue from an informed point of view, learn many new things. These discussions are supposed to provoke and stimulate our thinking. Ask ourselves those very pertinent questions, questions on our history, questions on where we are going. You cannot do that unless you engage.
The day is observed every June 10th. Deborah Nama Monde, Jamilu Sekaja, UBC News.
To Karamoja now, where local leaders and district officials from Karamoja sub-region are concerned over low revenue generation as the major factor hindering service delivery in their districts. This was in the consultative meeting organized by Uganda Local Government Associations, ULGA, at Nabilatu Town Council. The meeting was officiated by the Minister for Karamoja Affairs, Peter Lokeris.
Local Government Association has organized Karamoja Regional Consultative Meeting to discuss challenges and how to improve service delivery in local governments.
We don't have money as local governments. What government has been giving us has kept diminishing, and these are issues that I should not say special purpose program like NUSRA, but programs that were supporting decentralization. There was equalization grant, it was killed. Now we were only left with what they call DDG. district discretionary equalization grant. And it was at the discretion of the ministry. It was at the discretion of the center. But even this DDG now, when I came to power in 2021, we were receiving around, I think it was 300 million. But last year, we only had, this year that we are closing, only 68 million. What can
even to heads of departments and they put the same tradition they put in their accounts. Even at the ministry level, you wait. As we go back from here to our district, you will see ministry coming, there's this activity, you sign here. You sign so many things that you do not know. Because they know schools are open, financial year is ending. And they time even went to Christmas time. They time went to Easter time. Why did they do that?
Officials from Uganda Local Government Association, members of district councils, chief administrative officers, district chairpersons and district speakers and sub-county councils attended to discuss local revenue collections and lagging developmental program.
To collect and give to local, to the central government, but they take three months to, at least 3 months to give us. In some cases, they have given us at the end of the year. What are we really talking about? We are killing the child that was well admired. We are killing
trust in us. The correct revenue, which is yours, he sent Kampala. Someone is holding it. Sometimes even to get back that revenue. It's a tug of war.
Kamal Sub-County Chairperson in Kabong District, Joseph Tikol, says there is need to support the communities with income-generating activities. He has discussed how to improve service delivery in Karamoja.
Can we find a way? Can we find a better ground of ensuring that local governments collect their revenue, get their revenue in time, and use their revenue for handling their issues? So that we can resolve the issue of a chairperson walking on foot. I've been walking.
So that you can be able to market and say, this is what we even now, by the way, somebody can come and stop you. Chairman, what do you can be able to basically? So you must be having a profile of potential investors in your area.
Why can't Oluga lobby for us tractors? Especially in there is maybe 2 per district, sub-counties, 2 per district. We have these tractors so that we go to farm and produce food, sell, and we end up getting money to supplement our salaries. Then as we are still looking for proposals to get money, our salaries to increase. That was my
Minister for Karamoja Affairs, Peter Lokeris, urged leaders to prioritize peace for development and called for the regional status to enhance development.
When this was the call Easterners go to election for a youth councillor, usually we get it. We become the minority. Those ones who go there, they become a minority. So if we remain like this, you will never use a youth parliamentarian from Karamoja.
Brian Tumwenebiaruhanga, Moriniga, UBC News.
Business News is up next after this other short break.
Gold. We all want it. That soft yellow glow of a subdued sun in your hands. That precious polish of elegance. To hold it is one thing, but to taste it is everything else. Relish the satisfying taste of a beer, unmatched in quality, unmatched in consistency, and with 23 Global Gold Awards. A beer unmatched in gold.
What is a dream? What does it mean to you? To her? To them? It's time we dare to dream anew. Dream bigger, better, bolder. Let's dare to dream of tomorrow, today, of someday, of the hope that comes with change, of a change that transforms lives. That glimmer in your eyes, the prospect of maybe, of all the hopes that we carry. It's the promise of enjoyments, co-enjoyments for you and your mates. A dream keeps us going. It's the one thing that drives us, inspires us, motivates us. One goal, one hope, one dream. With the Uganda National Lottery, your dream can become a reality. Bigger is here. What's your one thing?
Welcome back. Let's have a look now at the latest in business. Border operators in West Nile and Arua District Woman Member of Parliament are urging the government to extend the motorbike registration promotion as the public continues to complain about the usual taxes associated with acquiring a number plate. In February 2024, the Minister of State for Finance in charge of general duties, Henry Musasizi, and Uganda Revenue Authority Commissioner General John Musinguzi announced a promotion where motorbike owners were offered a 50% discount on number plate registration. Now, this promotion is set to end on the 30th of this month. According to the URA Customs Department of West Nile, many people have responded positively to the promotion. However, it has also led to an increase in the number of unregistered motorbikes in the region.
The money we buy, the number plate, we feel it is too much. We used to pay more than 1 million on Bajaj. We really thank URA for reducing and giving us the chance on promotion. When you take Uganda's economy nowadays, people all depend on making money on the road. It has helped people. Those like thieves, they have retrieved themselves from there. They have come back home. So it brings peace to the nation. And I really urge the government to make more promotions.
We had said our poverty levels are just this high. That is where our youth are not able to get proper number plates at the right time. So there was a window given. Unfortunately, it is actually coming to an end. It is ending this financial year. We want to go back and ask URA to still extend the window for at least one other financial year, because unfortunately the sensitization and awareness was not up to date. Because even when we were talking today, some of the borders were like, okay, they are just hearing this. So this promotion is very good because it is almost half the price of what somebody would have spent in getting a full number plate. So we pray that another window will be opened for this promotion to run for another financial year.
I know you will be my witnesses. He sang and he sang and he sang, and they never listened. A lot of them have been registered. But within this period, the numberless motorbikes has also gone high in the region. And this promotion is ending on the 30th of this month. By the 1st of July, we are going back to full taxes.
International news now, and we go to Malawi, where news from there is not so good, as Malawi's Vice President Saulos Chilima and 9 others have been confirmed dead after their military plane crashed in bad weather. President Lazarus Chakwera announced that the wreckage was found in Chikangawa Forest near Mzuzu after a 24-hour search in thick forests and hilly terrain. The plane, traveling from Lilongwe to Mzuzu, was destroyed on impact. The victims included members of Chilima's staff, security detail, and former First Lady Chanel Jimbere. President Chakwera called it a terrible tragedy and praised Chilima as a devoted leader and family man. The remains are being transported to Lilongwe.
Patriotic citizen who served his country with distinction, and a formidable vice president. I consider it one of the greatest honors of my life to have had him as my deputy and counselor for the past 4 years. And his passing is a terrible loss to his wife, Mary, his family, his friends, his colleagues in the cabinet, and to all of us as a nation that found his leadership and courage a source of inspiration. And I know that even the others who were on that flight were men and women of honor who served their country with distinction and whose families are left with broken hearts today. I'm profoundly sorry to all of you for this terrible loss. And I pray to God to comfort us all and to bind up our wounds as we mourn together as one nation.
Sports news now, and as the world turns its focus on the Olympic Games in France next month, Uganda Olympic Committee has been boosted with a 200 million shillings sponsorship from Nile breweries.
On 26 July 2024, Uganda will be among the 206 nations and territories participating in the 2024 Olympic Games that will attract close to 15,000 athletes in Paris, France. With exactly 45 days to the Games, Uganda Olympic Committee has been boosted by Nile Breweries Limited to the tune of 200 million Uganda shillings.
Partnering and sponsoring the Uganda Olympic Committee is simply an extension of the work that we already do in a platform that we believe, which is sports and how this connects with consumers. Sports is a big passion of Ugandans, and so is Nile Special.
The leading makers of beer have also planned activations that will benefit an ordinary Ugandan.
We're very happy to have this activation in bars across the country where people can order your Nile Specials and run for a draw to win one of the 48 pure gold medals that we'll be offering, which connects with the many golds we expect to win.
Of course, government is the biggest funder for the Olympics, but such public-private partnerships offer a lot that enables better preparation.
And we also have an inbuilt mechanism to try and provide some support to the athletes directly through this sponsorship.
So far, Uganda has qualified 25 athletes for the Games, with these coming from the athletics, rowing, cycling and swimming federations.
Preparation and qualification for the Olympics is not an easy task. Many countries, by the way, for Ugandans out there, having a team of 25, 24, we are classified, if it as a company, would be a middle-sized company. The average team from Africa, for example, of people going to the Olympics is 2 to 3, just for put it into context. So having a team of 25, 24 puts us in the middle, let's say middle-class sized NOCs. A lot of those countries you spoke about have greater infrastructure, greater systems, greater partnerships with the private sector. For example, in the US that you referenced, they are 100% private-led. They don't get any money from government.
Rugby has a chance of becoming the second team sport after hockey in 1972 if they negotiate a repechage tournament in France later this month. At the last Games, Uganda won 4 medals, a gold and silver from Joshua Cheptegei, another gold from Peruth Chemtai, and a bronze from Jacob Kiplimo. In the history of the Games, Uganda has won 11 medals with 4 gold, 4 silver, and 3 bronze medals, with all of them from boxing and athletics.
Now, sports in schools is the foundation on which every nation builds its status to become a global champion in several disciplines. In Uganda, it's still the same, although private schools have taken charge. Take a watch.
Established in 1941 by the Mill Hill Fathers, St. Peter's College Tororo has produced some of the best in the country. These range from academicians, but importantly sportsmen, that have eloquently represented Uganda in all disciplines. But that can only be talked about using a past tense, because reality is, these days not many in the sports industry are attached to St. Peter's College Tororo. This has been caused by dilapidation of infrastructure at the school, and is the reason old students have organized a fundraising for a revamp.
The school is in a state of disrepair. So this is to call upon all of us OBs within the country, in the diaspora, and to also thank those who have already contributed.
In the past, St. Peter's College produced iconic sports players like Paul Hasule, Godfrey Higenyi, Samuel Barigo, Edmond Owor, Humphrey Mandu, and Eric Anyole.
It was a college that did not only excel academically, but it also used to excel in extracurricular activities.
But such a caliber of students can't be entrusted to the school, because it's not only the sports infrastructure that needs a facelift, but also everything else. The fundraising that will also focus on water and sanitation will be at Silver Springs Hotel, Bugolobi, Thursday next week, and will target 3.1 billion Uganda shillings.
Many parents would struggle to take their children there if they saw the state of the infrastructure at the moment, especially the sanitation, the bathrooms and toilets.
St. Peter's College Tororo presently has a capacity to take on 2,000 students, but because of the degeneration of the infrastructure, it's in a situation where it can't take in those numbers.
It's on the theme of making Tororo College great again. St. Peter's College Tororo has produced quality academia, including Professor Patrick Ogwang, Vinand Nantulia, Amos Wekesa, and several legislators.
From a single school in the country, and not only for this parliament, we have always been among the top 3. It shows the impact to which St. Peter's College Tororo contributed to this country. In the medical world, there may be very few schools that beat us.
And with that, we've come to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it has been Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukidi Kiijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hi Fifi, how are you?
I'm fine. Baby, whenever I eat chips and chicken, I feel stomachache. Join